Hello, this is Dr. Rodney here, and one of the things I always like to do on this channel is really talk about some things that might be going on and then also how they really apply to you. So I'm going to have a couple different videos on this, but number one, the most common topic right now is really on the government shutdown and what is the reasons behind it, what are the different things. I don't want to get into too much politics. However, a couple factors here to be aware of and basically, pay attention to. Number one is the government shutdown. The federal government must actually fund the government beginning of October every single year. End of September, beginning of October, October 1st. This is what they call their fiscal year. It goes from October 1st to September 30th of the following year. So that is why roughly around October, you always have a lot of these battles. They must fund that and they have to approve it. They can do that a couple different ways. Number one, they can do that through passing a budget. Budgets usually start around December or January for the following year. However, since 2006, that is the last year we have actually passed a budget. Although budgets have been filed and they've been worked on and they've been talked about, Congress, both the House and the Senate, have not passed a budget since 2006. So what they do is they do these things, that's the other way they can do this, is they do these things called continuing resolutions. Continuing resolutions are generally temporary in nature, generally no more than a year or so. Usually, though, we see them be 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10, 12 weeks. Sometimes they'll do 2, 3 CRs, and then they'll do one that will take you to September 30th. And that's what we're going to probably see with this shutdown as well. The bill that was actually passed on, and this is what people don't know, there was actually a CR that was the same framework, same language that was passed under the Biden administration before Donald Trump took over. That was passed. It's what they call a clean CR, meaning that there was nothing added, nothing put in there or anything like that. That clean CR, same language, was passed by the House back in early September. The Senate, though, needs 60 votes to pass it. So in the House, they only need 217. Technically, it's 218 if there's a full membership of the House, but right now there's a couple empty seats, so they only need 217. So you had 217 Republicans pass it. Not a single Democrat voted for it. So that passed and went to the Senate. The Senate then actually took that, and all the Republicans, there are 53 Republicans in the Senate, and there are 47 Democrats. Well, 45 Democrats, 2 independents, but the 2 independents caucus Democrats, so I'm including them together. So 47 Democrats giving you to 100. You need 60 to stop debate and then another 60 to pass it. You have 53 Republicans. I think the count now is 13 times have actually voted on the CR, and they have voted yes. But you've only had, at one time you only had one Democrat, John Fetterman out of Pennsylvania. Then you had a couple more, but really you only really were getting 55 to 56 yes votes. So that's why it kept failing. So the Democrats as a bloc kept voting no on that clean CR because they wanted to add stuff to it. Well, adding stuff to it, it was not going to pass the House, so the Senate kept voting on it. So that is really the political piece of looking at that. The economic piece, because that's really what I focus on, is really how is having that CR not getting passed, how is that affecting the overall economy? When the government is shut down, there's no spending. You also have a lot of government contractors. You have a lot of different employees. They're not spending. So you're going to see probably an uptake in inflation month to month, just because not people aren't spending. It'd be a slight uptake. People aren't spending, but the economy has to keep going, and so you might see a slight uptick. You could also more than likely see a slight decrease just because there's no government spending going in. So sometimes that does bring it down, but a lot of times you can see because there is an excess amount of different things out there people might be spending, but you're going to see some areas where it's going to drastically drop, but you're also going to see some areas where it's going to go up. So that's why I said it might be a slight either way. One area to really keep a look at is because right now there's probably a little excess supply and not as much demand because of the fact that people don't have money to buy, and you actually have a lot of people in limbo. You also have a situation where we could see. Don't think we'll see a wholesale drop in prices like you normally would think. I think they're going to hold that because what you're seeing is a lot of people are, like a lot of banks and institutions are giving forgiveness or giving temporary loans or different things like that to get them through, because in the past when you have a shutdown you then actually pay them all the back pay. So then we'll have an influx of cash coming in, but mostly it's just going to be to pay back bills. And so you could see a little bit there, but I think what you're also going to see is with the shutdown, very quietly there have been some federal jobs that have been eliminated. They haven't been announcing because they don't have to, but because the government is shut down, so those people won't be coming back. Now they probably will not get lump sum benefits because they're not coming back. What you're also seeing is like air traffic controllers. Secretary Duffy of the Transportation Department said that he is seeing anywhere from 10 to 20. Now, I haven't been able to verify that, but he's saying anywhere from 10 to 20 a day air traffic controllers are retiring. That means in a system where we were already, per his numbers, 3,000 to 3,500 air traffic controllers short, if he's seeing 10 to 20 retiring a day, let's just say it was Monday through Friday, that's 75 to 100, 50 to 100, 50 to 75 to 100 different retirements. So the longer this shutdown goes on, the further we're actually short, and thus we're going to have an even more problem to our air transportation. And that's another key thing to think about. Bookings for Thanksgiving and Christmas are down year over year. People are uncertain about that. They don't want to buy flights and be in there. You're going to see that's going to affect airlines. That's probably potentially going to see where airlines are going to offer some really good potential deals just to get people flying. But then that's going to hurt their overall profitability. And so then you might see them swing the pendulum back in January or February when they typically go down. You're going to probably see them jack it up a lot higher so that they can get back to profitability potentially. But those are a lot of different things. Now they can build that in because a lot of times they already have those flights in there, so they already have the cost built in there. So it's actually more profitable to fly a plane at a lower ticket than fly it without anybody in it. So it may not affect them too much, but if this really goes on for a while, it might. And especially if they have to cancel flights and do different things and not be able to rebook people, but you might also see people put on there a lot more. So there's a lot of different things in there to really think about. So the government shutdown doesn't just affect the government. The government shutdown really affects a lot of different things. And I haven't talked about SNAP benefits or different things like that. So we'll talk about that in another segment. If I can help you, let me know.